Hey there, Gary Parrish, Grind City Media, here to play 5 questions on the Tigers with CJ Hurt. Memphis won at Cincinnati 75-68 on Sunday, and now 15-5 overall, 5-2 in the AAC. CJ, if you got 5 questions for me, I got 5 answers. Go ahead, hit me with question number 1.
Here we go. Question number 1. Are you surprised at all that Memphis took the lead on the road at Cincinnati a little more than 3 minutes into the game and then never trailed, really controlling the game throughout the course of its totality?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, I wasn't surprised that Memphis won the game. I suspected that the Tigers would. Memphis is better than Cincinnati, but you know, Memphis entered this game just 2-4 in true road games, and they had 0 true road wins over top 75 KenPom teams. Cincinnati is 71st at KenPom right now, so this is true. Before Sunday, Memphis had not beaten a team like Cincinnati in a true road environment at all this season. So the idea that it wasn't something they had to fight to win in the second half as much as, like you said, they took control early, led pretty much most of the game. At one point, Cincinnati did tie it, but the Tigers never trailed in the second half or really after they took that early lead. That was super impressive. Like, Cincinnati is not what you remember from the Bob Huggins days or even the Mick Cronin days. But again, that's the top 75 KenPom team to go in their building and control them pretty much from, you know, opening tip to the final horn. That was a nice performance.
Absolutely. It's question number 2. I want to make sure I get this right. DeAndre Williams is averaging 27.5 points, 11.5 rebounds, and just 3.5 fouls over his last 2 games. Has he finally figured out how to stay on the court and make his impact and make his presence known?
I hope so. You know, he's been really good lately. Like, the numbers speak for themselves. Kendrick Davis is undeniably the star of this team, but there is an argument to be made that DeAndre Williams impacts winning as much as anybody else on the team, and perhaps more than anybody else on the roster. Memphis has played 20 games this season. DeAndre Williams has fouled out of 5 of them. Memphis is 1-4 when he fouls out, 14-1 when he doesn't foul out. So avoiding that 5th foul is hugely important, not just for DeAndre individually, but for the Tigers in general. He has avoided that 5th foul and played big minutes in each of the past 3 games, and unsurprisingly, Memphis is 3-0 in those games.
You brought up Kendrick Davis, another nice performance from him this weekend. Is he your favorite to win the American Player of the Year this year?
Not right now still, although he is making it really, really close. If you go by the KenPom Player of the Year ratings right now in the American Athletic Conference, it is actually Marcus Sasser at Houston, number 1, followed by Kendrick Davis. And then number 3 is DeAndre Williams, and then number 4 and 5 are 2 more Houston players. So the Player of the Year is going to come from Houston or Memphis. And in the preseason, even though Kendrick Davis was and is the reigning AAC Player of the Year, I did assume, and so did the people who voted on such things, assume that Marcus Sasser would be the Player of the Year because he was terrific last season before he got hurt, and he was playing on a preseason top 5 team as opposed to an unranked team. And all of that stuff is still true. Like, Marcus Sasser was a preseason first-team All-American and is playing at an All-American level right now. But statistically, this is just a fact. Kendrick Davis has been the better player this season. Kendrick Davis is averaging 21.2 points, 5.8 assists, and shooting 41% from the field. Marcus Sasser, 16.7 points, 3.2 assists, 42% from the field. So the shooting percentages are very similar. Points, assists per game, Kendrick Davis is better than Marcus Sasser. Really, the only difference right now, the only thing working against Kendrick Davis is that Marcus Sasser plays for a team that is ranked in the top 10 and has been ranked number 1 in the country, and Kendrick Davis is playing for a team that has largely been unranked this season. But the gap between them as it pertains to trying to win this award is pretty small right now, and I will not be surprised if by the time we get to the end of it, Kendrick Davis is just such a statistically better player than Marcus Sasser that he actually wins his 2nd straight AAC Player of the Year award. That's certainly on the table.
Is Memphis inching closer to your 25-1?
Definitely getting closer. You know, I look at this stuff every single morning, and Memphis had been off of my radar in the past couple of weeks after taking at least one questionable loss in there. But, you know, the Tigers are certainly moving in the right direction over the past, 3 games at least. Memphis is now 1-2 in quadrant 1, 5-3 in quadrant 2, or 6-5 in the first 2 quadrants with 0 losses in quadrant 3 or quadrant 4. That's not great, but it's good enough to make you right around the fringes of the top 25 and 1. For context, Boise State is the team I have 26th right now in my top 25 and 1. And the Broncos are 8-4 in the first two quadrants, but they do have a quadrant 4 loss that Memphis doesn't have. Memphis is 32nd at KenPom. Boise State is 25th. So I think Boise State has a slightly better body of work, but not significantly better or dramatically better. Simply put, I've got Boise State 26 right now. I would have Memphis somewhere between 27 and 35. They're heading the right direction, and frankly, given that they're going to be favored, I believe, in their next 6 games, as long as they keep winning, I assume they'll get there once again at some point, probably sooner rather than later.
You talked about it last week. Got to avoid those bad losses, those quadrant 3 and quadrant 4 losses, and the Tigers have done that so far. What's next for them? Last question. What's next for the Tigers?
Well, 2 more games over the next 7 days. SMU at home on Thursday, then Tulsa on the road on Sunday. And, boy, you talk about having to avoid bad losses. That is the goal over these next 2, because that's the only thing you got on the table is either a win that won't help you or a loss that could devastate you. These are both quadrant 4 games. KenPom has Memphis projected to win the SMU game, 81-66. Projected Memphis to win the Tulsa game, 82-70. So the Tigers should be double-digit favorites in both of these games, and they need to win them. Why? Again, not because they're going to move the needle if you win them, but they will move the needle the wrong direction if you lose either of them. So when we talk again next Monday, Memphis should be 17-5 on the season. If not, something has gone terribly, terribly wrong.